If there's one quiet truth, older gardens understood that, well, modern ones often miss. It's this: soil was never meant to be force-fed. For most of agricultural history, fertility didn't arrive in a bag or on a schedule. It arrived gradually, patiently, and almost invisibly. That slow feeding is exactly why older soils improved year after year, instead of burning out. Before we go any further, if you care about long-term soil health and want practical, old-world knowledge that actually works today, take a moment to subscribe to Gentle Herb Gardening. Everything we share is built for gardeners who want results that last. Soil was treated as a living system, not a storage container. Historically, soil wasn't viewed as something you filled up with nutrients. It was treated as a living system that processed inputs over time. Organic matter was added in forms that broke down slowly: leaves, straw, animal bedding, kitchen scraps, crop residues, and green manures. These materials didn't release nutrients all at once. Instead, they fed microbes first and plants second. That delay mattered. Microbial life acted as a buffer, preventing nutrient spikes and keeping fertility available steadily across seasons. When you feed soil slowly, you allow fungi, bacteria, protozoa, and worms to convert raw material into stable humus. That humus becomes the pantry plants draw from when they need it, not when we decide to dump something on the surface. One of the biggest differences between then and now is the form nutrients arrived in. Nitrogen came locked inside plant fibers, manure or decomposing roots. Potassium arrived bound in wood ash or decaying stems. Calcium entered through bones, shells, lime-rich plant matter, or mineral soil disturbance. None of this was instantly soluble. For example, when straw bedding from animals was composted lightly and spread thinly, it could take months to fully mineralize. That meant nitrogen was released gradually, matching plant uptake. Compare that to a water-soluble fertilizer that dumps nitrogen into the soil in hours. The plant can't use it all, microbes get shocked, and the excess either burns roots or washes away. Slow inputs protected the soil from itself. Seasonal timing controlled nutrient release naturally. Organic matter added in fall broke down slowly through winter and early spring. Summer residues decomposed faster under warmth and rain. Nothing was rushed. This meant soil fertility followed plant growth cycles instead of fighting them. Roots encountered nutrients as they expanded, not before they existed. In modern gardens, fast-release feeding often happens before roots are established, which leads to weak plants that rely on constant inputs. A practical example today is leaf mold. A pile of shredded leaves applied as a 2-inch layer in autumn may not look like fertilizer, but by late spring it becomes fungal-rich humus that feeds perennials and vegetables steadily through the growing season. Soil structure improved alongside fertility. Slow feeding wasn't just about nutrients, it built structure. As organic matter decomposed gradually, it created stable aggregates. These aggregates improved drainage in clay soils and water retention in sandy soils. Roots could penetrate deeper, air could move, and microbes could colonize protected spaces. Fast feeding ignores structure entirely. You can have high nutrient numbers and still have compacted, lifeless soil. Older systems understood that feeding soil without building structure was pointless. That's why inputs were bulky, fibrous, and repeated year after year in modest amounts. When nutrients arrive slowly, the soil food web stays balanced. Bacteria bloom, then get grazed by protozoa. Fungi extend networks and trade minerals with roots. Worms process residues and mix layers naturally. Fast fertilizers break this balance. They favor bacteria over fungi, encourage shallow rooting, and create dependency. Plants stop partnering with microbes because nutrients are already dissolved and available. Over time, soil biology collapses into a simplified system that needs constant intervention. If you want a modern equivalent of slow feeding, consider a simple fermented plant extract diluted at 1 tablespoon per gallon and applied to soil, not leaves, once every 2 to 3 weeks. It feeds microbes gently rather than shocking the system. Why slow feeding matters more now than ever. Modern soils are under stress. They've been tilled, compacted, dried out, overfed, and stripped of organic matter. Fast inputs only accelerate the damage. Slow feeding is how you reverse it. When you apply compost that still has visible structure, mulch with chipped branches, or grow cover crops that die back naturally, you're restoring the rhythm soil evolved with. You're feeding tomorrow's fertility, not just today's plants. A garden fed slowly becomes easier to manage. Watering needs drop. Pest pressure decreases. Plants regulate their own growth instead of surging and collapsing. This is why older gardens improved over time, while many modern ones stall or decline. You don't need to abandon everything modern. You just need to slow down inputs, feed soil with materials that take time to break down, apply smaller amounts more often. Let microbes do the work. Think in seasons instead of weeks. Think in years instead of harvests. Soil doesn't need to be pushed, it needs to be supported. If this kind of grounded, practical knowledge matters to you, subscribe to Gentle Herb Gardening and share this with someone who's tired of chasing quick fixes. Healthy soil is built slowly, and once you understand that, everything changes.